Me and Cinderella by Jason Boaden. Fade in, interior city bar, night, present time. A band is ripping out 80s anthems to a lively crowd. The band's name and logo are on the bass drum. They are White Knight. Over at the bar, it's a tangle of arms and voices, waving and calling drink orders. A bar girl, 28, is pouring drinks when she spots a co-worker, 34, female, navigating the crowd to collect empty glasses.
Hey, Sin!
Lucinda, co-worker, wears black shorts and a black t-shirt. Her golden blonde hair is wound up in a lively ponytail. Originally from London, she has adopted a casual vernacular to soften the proper flourishes of her accent. Lucinda looks at the bar girl, then follows her direction to the guitarist, 39, in the band. He wears torn camo shorts and an old Van Halen t-shirt. His dark hair is washed, but long overdue for a trim. While the guitarist tears up a solo, it's the longing in his orgasmic 1,000-yard stare that has Lucinda's attention. Upon returning to her glass collection duty, Lucinda catches the bar girl's lecherous smirk. Interior, city bar, later. More people fill the bar. White Knight are rocking the Van Halen classic, Running with the Devil. As Lucinda is passing close to the stage, Matt rips an outlandish blues lick that makes her smile, but raises the ire of other band members. Interior, kitchen, city bar, night, late. The bar is closed. The few remaining staff are chatting and snacking. Lucinda is standing by the door, watching the rear parking lot.
Lucinda's a bad bitch, aren't you, Sin?
Lucinda smiles and continues watching the parking lot, where members of White Knight are loading equipment into their van. The guitarist is alone in his car, singing to himself. Noticing angry looks from them, he leaves his car to see what's up. Lucinda opens the door and goes outside.
Nah, she's alright. Lucinda's a good girl. Good, aren't you, Sin?
Exterior, rear parking lot. Matt and the other members of White Knight are locked in a heated argument. But it isn't long before Matt's had enough and he's returning to his car. Matt notices Lucinda, but doesn't stop.
Rough night.
Tough crowd. Sometimes you gotta walk, before you lose your shit.
Sure, I guess.
You don't sound sure.
I never walked away from a fight.
Interior, bathroom, city apartment, Brooklyn, New York, morning. Lucinda studies her reflection in the mirror, pale complexion and rosy cheeks. She opens the vanity to begin her daily routine of cleansing and covering up. Creams, masks, and removers stare back at her. Lucinda is done with all of it. Closing the vanity, she splashes water on her face and brushes her teeth. Exterior, terrace, soon after. Newly rejuvenated, Lucinda is relaxing with coffee and a second-story view of a bustling city borough. There are 2 single lounge chairs, hanging vines, and potted plants. One plant is a winter bloom, a species of hazel that centers Lucinda and shares her attention with the city. Her roommate Amy, 23, passes in the living room, then returns to consider what's different about Lucinda. Lucinda is relaxing in a long emerald skirt and pressed white blouse. Her hair is out, her complexion is blemish-free and without makeup. Amy is made up and wound tight. Her brunette hair is pinned back. She wears a cute fitted dress, but is still without shoes and now racing the clock.
What's different?
What do you think?
I don't have time, Lucinda.
No makeup.
Okay. Why?
I don't like makeup. It's annoying.
I thought you were going out.
I am. I'm seeing a movie, then having lunch. I don't need makeup. I'll be sitting in the dark.
Not after the movie.
You're funny.
I don't have time for this.
Amy leads Lucinda to her winter bloom and the cramped view of the city she so adores.
I feel great.
Exterior, kingdom, morning. Green fields and rolling hills. This is London in the 17th century, a parallel time and place. A castle sits in the distance beyond a village and winding road. Like much of the kingdom, the road is littered with waste and desolation. High-strung cages contain the tarred and bloody remains of tortured souls. Exterior, castle, morning. The castle suffers the same degradation as its kingdom. Interior, queen's chamber. The queen, 60s, is a bleached monster of her own creation, with the milky red eyes of a rabbit animal and whitish translucent flesh so thin her veins are apparent. Her naked body is a frenzied roadmap of desperation. Bloody hand and fingerprints litter her breasts and abdomen. Blood has dried in clumps in her pubic hair and in trails along the inside of her legs. Her health is waning. Her frizzled dark hair has dried out. Her toe and fingernails are curling. The queen stands at a window looking down on the kingdom. Her bloody footprints come from the grand door across the room. Interior, corridor. A blind woman, 36, rushes through the castle. She wears a fine dress and a slip of silk to conceal her plucked eyes that continue to weep. She was once beautiful, but is fading quickly. A handler guides the blind woman, but she is unable to curb her haste. Interior, haberdashery. The blind woman stops to sniff the air for the person she seeks. Village women serve as live models for a seamstress and tailor working meticulously on the queen's garments. Other live models are draped in new designs. A blind twin, to the blind woman, moves among the workers and models as a sort of guard, despite her own deformity and fading beauty. The blind woman stiffens as she detects a foul odor. Her twin senses her alarm and moves desperately to scout the source before her, but fails. The blind woman locates a healthy model and strikes her down.
Only the weakest mules from the herd. The less lively the eyes, the more vibrant the rags.
As the model is removed, the blind woman seeks her handler and continues her search of the castle. Interior, pleasure chamber. The blind woman stops at the door, sniffing. She detects the scent, but not the person. There is blood everywhere. A trail on the floor contains a woman's footprints, leading back out the door and along the corridor. They follow it, but we linger. Healthy bodies lie on the floor, wrapped like mummies, with only their tongues and genitals exposed, male and female alike. Engorged penises are tied off to maintain throttle. Other wrapped bodies are suspended along the underside of the low surfaces and standing upright against walls where they can be knelt beneath and backed into for the desired erotic effect. The blood trail leading out the door comes a male body on the floor. Its phallus is deflated and covered in blood. The man's head is caved in, given to blunt force. Interior, Queen's chamber. The door opens and the blind woman rushes in. Her handler remains outside, repulsed by the Queen's stench. But the blind woman is attuned to her scent. She and her blind twin are the Queen's daughters.
They have found Cinderella.
The Queen gasps, and her milky eyes flicker with possibility.
And the plant.
Not yet.
Find it and bring them to me.
Interior, city bar, night, present time. It's early on karaoke night, so Lucinda has less people to navigate and fewer glasses to collect. She notices 3 men entering. The bigger one looks like a bull, spoiling for a fight. His 2 buddies are smaller and merely add numbers to his crew. Lucinda returns her tray of glasses to the bar and speaks to a barman, 30s.
I'm going on break.
The barman nods and Lucinda leaves, via the kitchen. Exterior, rear parking lot. Once outside, Lucinda's pace quickens. Distracted by a familiar car, she bumps into Matt.
Hey, Fight Club!
Lucinda keeps running and reaches the street. The 3 men appear and they give chase.
Holy shit.
Exterior city street, moments later. With no sign of Lucinda, the bull dispatches his buddies into a liquor store while he scours adjacent storefronts. Matt enters the street further back. He sees the bull punch through the window of a parked car, setting off the alarm. Matt is weighing the danger of the chase when he notices Lucinda among trash bags in an alley. Given the distant threat, she's able to cry. Interior living room, Matt's apartment, night. Lucinda sits quietly, leafing through vinyl records. Matt brings 2 copies and sits beside her. Lucinda continues her search through his collection of hard rock and metal albums, before finally giving out. Matt offers coffee, but it isn't what she needs.
My husband died.
Oh, fuck, I'm sorry. Did those guys...
Lucinda shakes her head.
Do you want to talk about it?
I just needed to say it. It was a long time ago. I've been avoiding it. I remember when I said I never run from a fight. Here I am.
Don't explain. I mean, fuck, I get it, or I don't...
They work for my stepmother.
Those guys? She sent them after you? That's fucked up.
Today was a good day. I stopped wearing makeup.
Yeah, I noticed. I thought you looked different. You look better, actually.
Strange.
What?
I decided after thinking about what I said about never running. I told you. Now they're here.
Lucinda looks at Matt with growing suspicion.
Hey, I...
Lucinda springs to her feet and scouts the exit. She stumbles as Matt stands, but manages to get out. Exterior, terrace, city apartment, night. Lucinda sits in pieces, trying desperately to focus on her winter bloom and the song on her iPod, the 1988 Cinderella classic, Fallen Apart at the Seams. Amy returns from a great night out and calls to Lucinda. When Lucinda doesn't respond, she goes onto the terrace. Finding Lucinda in tears, Amy squeezes her way onto the lounge and embraces her. Exterior terrace, city apartment, night, late. Having fallen asleep in her chair, Lucinda wakes and gathers her bearings. She turns to the next chair, where the bull sits, waiting. Before Lucinda can scream, the bull rises and covers her mouth.
We mean you no harm, princess. We seek your help.
His two buddies close the terrace door, and the bull releases Lucinda, despite no indication she'll be compliant.
Why?
We are in exile and have nowhere to go, but home to our grave.
You could have taken me while I slept.
We could not.
You came for me in the plant. The plant is there.
It is a fine specimen, descendant of the hazel your father gifted you, but it is not the one. To return, failing the Queen's order, would mean death, and that is why we are here.
Lucinda springs to her feet, alerting the bull's two buddies.
Your friend sleeps.
I want to see her.
Your husband's kingdom lies in ruin.
My husband is dead.
We are barbarians, not monsters. Please, sit. Like yourself, no harm has come to her.
I will stand and hear you. I have no choice.
Your choice is to stay. The fall would not kill you, should you choose to run.
Lucinda considers the balcony.
You are not restrained. We have waited to seek your help.
Should I be grateful?
Do not be petulant, princess. It is an unbecoming trait and not a reason, I imagine, the former prince, your husband,
Never speak of him.
chose you as a bride. On that, I can only speculate. Only you knew his heart.
Do not speak of him again.
Then listen. The Queen's life continues to cost others theirs. Help us defeat her and restore the kingdom.
I'm not trusting you. Your intention before your failure was to hand me over to her. You're a death squad in service of a thief and a murderer.
On this matter, this is no choice. You are the only one who can get close to her.
You kill her.
Her orders come by her daughters. Few are allowed within her chambers, but she awaits your return. Only you can get close.
No.
You have the power to right all this wrong. With the Queen dead, the throne and kingdom are yours.
Lucinda is done speaking.
You were found. You will be found again. Should the Queen tire in her pursuit of you in the plant, and her desire simply becomes your death, what then? Will you breathe your last? Think well of your husband and believe his smiles upon you and your futile end?
Interior, city apartment, soon after. Lucinda looks into Amy's room and finds her sleeping. Lucinda then stops at a bureau to write her a note. Sleeping Beauty, I am home. I am not sure when or if I am able to return, so I have left my share of the rent to see you through month's end. I am sorry for this short notice. Yours, Cinderella. End note. The bull and his two buddies wait while Lucinda leaves the note and some cash in an envelope, then takes her last look at the apartment. Exterior, kingdom, night. Few houses in the village show a light. Interior, castle, entry. The bull lays Lucinda's bloody body on the ground for all to see. She's wrapped in a sack, apparently dead, with only her feet, her head, and mangy hair hanging out the ends. The bull is a similar mess, bloodied and bruised across his arms and face. He stands among castle guards, all on alert. The blind woman and her handler, her blind twin, and now the Queen, all have awakened for his late return.
The prodigal worm has returned.
The Queen is a bedmess witch with wild hair and wearing a silken slip. As she approaches Lucinda, few can believe they are seeing this wretched creature in the flesh.
Move aside. Let me see her.
She lives.
Cinderella's alive. Pay the bull double his fee.
The blind twin leaves, and the Queen lingers over Lucinda, savoring her mangled state.
Your men did not make it.
No.
You have the plant?
Upon our return, a mob besieged us and...
What?
Several guards are alerted by her anger.
You? Overpowered by a mob?
That was their purpose. Cinderella would have fallen into their hands had I not.
Yes, all right. It's a terrible loss and a fine mess. Gather some men and find the marauders, burn their homes to the ground.
The guard leaves on assignment.
I would urge you not to retaliate, my queen.
I would urge you to speak your reason at the risk of losing your tongue.
They have the plant. It could be with anyone in any...
The plant is in the village with whom we do not know.
And come the morning, I will...
The queen gestures and a guard runs the bull through. The bull sinks to his knees, choking on his own blood. Within moments, he is dead.
Take Cinderella to my chamber. Be careful with her. The rest of you scour the village, cut down any who resist. Bring me that plant.
Interior, Queen's chamber. The queen watches the blind woman lay Lucinda on her immense bed, then nods for her to leave. Once the door is closed, the queen oozes delight and stalks the room. She leans over Lucinda and brushes her mangy hair, before considering her bindings. With the rope unfastened and the sack cast aside, Lucinda is exposed. The queen considers her arms crossed over her chest and her odd attire of shorts and a t-shirt.
Welcome home, worm.
There is blood on Lucinda's left thigh, running from within her shorts, but it is more blood on a bloody body, so the queen's only concern is better positioning herself to admire her prey. The queen intends to climb on top of Lucinda, so manages her slip and sits astride of her torso. Doing this, she is unaware of Lucinda's arms moving beneath her. As the queen comes face to face with Lucinda, she in fact comes eye to eye. Before the queen can respond, Lucinda has the kitchen knife from her shorts and is gouging her stomach and chest, while silencing her and deepening the wound by pulling her close. Exterior, village road, same time. The bull's two buddies lead a rebel mob in its advance on the castle, leaving fires and the scattered remains of the defeated queen's guard in their wake. Exterior, castle. Lucinda stands before a vast crowd of villagers and a victorious rebel mob. Insults and unpleasantness are hurled at the blind woman, her handler, and blind twin as they carry the remains of the fallen queen from the castle. While many applaud their exile and celebrate the rebel victory, those unfamiliar with Cinderella clamor for a clearer look at her. The bull's buddies note the bull's absence. Cinderella's sorry look weighs heavy on their hearts, but one buddy focuses on the victory.
3 cheers for Cinderella!
A tremendous hurrah goes up in triplicate. Meanwhile, 2 villagers discuss their mystery savior.
Who is she?
Unless my eyes deceive me, that is indeed Cinderella.
Back from the dead?
Among the living, among the citizens of this once vital kingdom and these brave souls who fought to bring an end to tyranny.
The crowd roars.
What language does she speak? It's not English.
Perhaps it is the way people speak in the land from whence she came.
A concerned villager number 3 speaks up.
Who will lead us?
Cinderella will lead us.
If you will have a traitor.
You're no traitor.
You saved us!
Come now, princess, no false modesty. The throne is rightfully yours.
If not for you and the efforts of these men, acting in your accord, one need only look to the past to see what would become of us.
An elderly woman makes her way through the crowd, walking with 2 canes. As she reaches the front, Lucinda is taken aback by the presence of this wonderful old friend.
No decision will be made tonight. Go. Enjoy your celebrations. Tomorrow is a new day.
When Lucinda joins the elderly woman for a private conversation, the woman places a tiny amulet in her palm.
Keep it.
I must stay and rebuild my husband's kingdom.
His time is gone. Make the kingdom your own. Use it as you like. Come and go as you please. You have a wandering heart, Cinderella, but your roots will always be strong here.
Did you destroy the plant?
Return to the earth, where your father plucked its first branch. It was enchanted for you. It would never have served that wretch. Like this kingdom, it has always belonged to you.
Exterior, kingdom, day. Over time, the kingdom is transformed and restored. The fallen bodies and hanging cages are gone from the road. Exterior, castle. The walls and grounds have been maintained. The castle is alive with lush greenery and bustling workers. Interior, castle. The castle's many chambers are clean and the windows are open to allow more light. The haberdashery has been expanded to accommodate the needs of castle residents and villagers alike. The pleasure chamber is a gallery. The Queen's chamber has been redressed with whites and other soft-colored linens. Exterior castle. As cows are taken in from the fields for milking, their bells draw Cinderella from the castle. Now in her role as queen, Lucinda will be known as Cinderella. She wears a white gown with shoulder sleeves, a crown atop her golden blonde hair, her washed skin bears a natural glow, and rosy cheeks. Cinderella listens wistfully to the dull clatter of the cowbells. Interior city bar, night, present time. A 4 count on the cowbell, played by a White Knight's drummer, leads the band and a ravenous crowd into the Guns N' Roses classic, Night Train. A glass girl, 20s, is weaving through the crowd to collect empty glasses. The bar girl is taking orders and pouring drinks. Cinderella watches from the back, sipping vodka cherry. Her golden blonde hair is out. She wears her anklet on a chain around her neck and a strappy blue dress that twirls around her knees, while she sways to the music. From the stage, while Matt is playing guitar, he keeps looking at Cinderella, but can't be sure it's her. Interior city bar, soon after. Matt approaches Cinderella during a set break. Throughout their conversation, Cinderella speaks with her London accent and delights in its proper flourishes.
You're all dressed up.
Do you like it?
It's a change from shorts and a tee, so yeah, I don't mind it. What's the occasion?
Visiting a friend.
Staying long?
Perhaps a few days.
Perhaps. Fancy.
Boy, rude boy. I'll have your head for that.
You're still a handful. Can I buy you a drink before you run away?
You may. I owe you a drink for doing that.
Yeah, a drink should cover it.
Sorry.
Matt nods, and they head for the bar.
I'm Matt, by the way.
Cinderella.
Matt checks her, but can't decipher her smile.
What do you do besides this?
I teach middle school.
Do children like you?
I'm pretty likable all around. I'm afraid to ask, what do you do?
I'm the queen of an enchanted kingdom.
Matt looks at Cinderella and surveys the faces around them.
I should have talked to that chick over there.
Fade to black. The end.